One of the things that's really important to know about Illustrator are these two different arrow tools. They do two very different things. Okay, if you look at the black arrow, it's called Selection Tool, and it's the tool that we use to pick up an entire object and move it around. Also, if we want to change the properties of that one object, if we want to transform the whole thing at once, then we would use the Selection Tool to change that. The other arrow is called the Direct Selection Tool, and what that does, the difference with that is it selects one part of a shape. So that looks like I just selected the whole shape, but in actual fact, if I press the delete button, you can see the only bit I selected was that one line. Likewise, I can pick one anchor point, delete it, and the lines that are connected to it are gone, there's a break. But I'm just selecting one part directly. It's called a Direct Selection Tool. Now this is really important as you start to get more complicated with your shapes. For example, some people have drawn their whole thing, the whole net, using a collection of lines like this. Now if I choose these lines, they are not in any way related. This looks like it's one shape, a triangle. But if I select that shape, and if I change its fill to red, for whatever reason, you'll see that nothing happens. It doesn't fill up at all. And the reason for that is because they're not connected, they're not part of the same shape. They look like they are, but they're not. So what I'm going to do is, if I just zoom in a bit, if I use the Direct Selection Tool, and if I select the ends of two of those lines, and if I right click and press join, watch what happens. Okay, those two lines now become one line, and it fills it in. Now if you look closely, you can see that there's a black line here, a black line here, but there isn't one over there. That's because it wasn't connected, it's over here still. So what I need to do to make this a complete shape is I need to do the same thing over here. If I select that, I'm selecting the end of this line and the end of that line, right click and go join again. Okay, now what I've got is a complete three-sided shape. Now it's a bit more obvious if I change the stroke width on here, you can see. Now if you look closely, if I zoom in a bit on this triangle, you can see that two of the corners of the triangle look like corners. Can you see that one and that one both look like corners? But if I go down here, you can see this last one doesn't look like a corner. I want you to just think for a moment why that is. Because they're not joined together. Okay? The reason is it's square at the end because this is the start of my line, it goes around, and then this is the end of my line. Now if I make this into a complete circuit and join it together, you'll see this now looks like a proper complete shape. Okay, so if you have, for example, maybe you've got a rectangle and then you've maybe added some lines over here and over here, and you're looking to join these together, there's a couple of things that you still need to do in between. One is you're going to want to select that line and delete it, and you're going to want to select that line and delete it, and then the next thing is you want to get all the ends of the lines that you want to join together and start connecting them together. Okay. Connect those and join. Okay. Join. Now if I put in the fill, you can see that this is going to start to fill up. Okay, and then once I'm done with that, that is now one shape. Okay, so if you've just got a collection of lines, the laser cutter actually doesn't count, but it's good practice to join them all together. That way you don't end up with little tiny gaps between the lines sometimes.